Welcome to Rooster Radio, a broadcast dedicated to supporting and promoting local artists in the Gaston County and surrounding areas.
So we're excited. Are you going to do anything different this time for the Halloween performance?
Oh, when you say different, I mean, what do you mean by different? Well, I'll tell you.
I mean, you already have a great stage show.
Yeah.
You've got the video element that you incorporate. It's really cool. You know, you've got a couple different costumes. Are you going to kind of stick with that, or are you trying? Have you tried anything new lately? Like, what are you thinking for the Halloween show?
We try to keep it to where I try to keep it to where we have like at least some animation live and something I'm rapping to being on a screen and then costume changes. But we also want to do stuff that short notice stuff. Like we don't even know maybe what we'll be doing. So
He's just gonna roll with it.
yeah,
I mean, it's
we try to
really-
keep it a mix of all those things.
It's really creative. I mean, we're approaching a full year of being a business, and I've gotten a chance to see so many different of these Charlotte-based acts, North Carolina-based acts, and with the hip hop, you're the only one that's doing what you do with the video screen and having the videos, and it's really really cool that a lot of your videos pop the words up because you are rapping so fast that it enhances the performance because you're actually understanding everything if we've never heard you before.
Right.
And I think that is 100% something you should definitely keep doing because it does make the performance a little bit better. And it's fun to watch. I mean, I would go. I mean, you and FaZe God are two of the most entertaining rappers in this entire market.
I would have to agree with that.
What he does is very different. He's got like the full band. His stage performance is so different than what you do. But you two are. When I think about hip hop in this scene, you guys are at the top of the list.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and my husband would totally agree with that, and he does not really care for hip hop.
Yeah.
Just gonna throw that out there, and he's a fan of yours, so.
we actually get that pretty often.
Yeah.
Because people are like,
Yeah,
I don't really
regularly.
like hip hop, but for some reason you're like, I'm just like funny enough and
Yeah.
or whatever the thing is.
Right.
But FaZe God, we played with him before we even started doing. Either one of us started doing the gimmicky stuff.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
Yeah, that dude's solid. He'll be here soon too.
yeah.
He has a podcast. I was actually on his podcast at one point.
Oh,
a
rock
couple years
on.
ago, yeah.
He's
I
never
know
told
he
me that. Yeah, he
didn't
never
know.
told me that.
Yeah.
Eventually, we'll get him on here. On that.
Yeah.
So, do you think that having the metal background, do you think that has anything to do with like how you appeal to people as a rapper?
I think it's put me on stage a lot because I've been doing it since I was like 15. And I've been rapping for years too, but I never really like pursued it the same way. It was like I didn't know who made beats, and because this was before social media, so I'm like, I'll just be in a band with these guys because they have instruments, and that'll take me straight to stage. So I have reference points from playing on stage a lot and seeing other people. So I just kind of took mental notes, and I'm like, I want to do stuff like that, and I want to do stuff like that. So I mean, like at the end of the day, people just want to be entertained.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm trying to. So even if you don't like hip hop, I want to be enjoyable if you come to a show.
Well, you definitely
Yeah.
achieved that goal.
You got that. You nailed it.
Yeah, no question there. What made you decide to transition from metal to rap? Was it a confidence thing, or was it having a band? There's other people on stage to kind of lean on. You kind of went from having a band to like now you're the guy. Now
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. You can tell me when Chris got involved. Like, was he immediately involved with the rap career, or did you just decide to go do this? What was the motivation?
It's kind of like I slowly nurtured it over the years. It's like I would write raps when I was a teenager, and again, like I said, I didn't have any way to make. I don't know anybody who made beats, so I kept writing on the back burner. But as I made connections, playing shows in Charlotte, you'd meet rappers and meet producers and start going to rap shows. And one of the dudes I actually did the first recording sessions with, his name's Justin Aswell. I went to high school with him, so I'm like, that might be my in. I think if I like can work with him, then I can like get in a studio. Because before that, it was me kind of rapping on other people's beats. And Roy actually recorded the first. You met Roy?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Roy with like
Roy, the computer scientist dude we know.
yeah. So he's like, I think I can record you, man. So it was like with a little handheld mic. We're in his attic, and we used like a little keyboard and made a really crappy beat. So it kind of it started with that.
Yeah. Shout out to Justin as well, one of the best
I'm just
producers.
picturing
in
one of
Where
those
can we hear that?
Oh man, I
I'm
think it's
picturing one
gone.
like those little tiny Casio ones you wanted, like when you sold enough stuff for the fundraisers
Oh,
at
yeah.
school.
Oh yeah.
It was pretty close to that.
Yeah, 2 triple A's.
Triple A's that died in like 5 minutes.
Well, how'd you get hooked up with Chris? Because you guys are quite the team. Like,
It was really actually being in metal bands.
Yeah.
He was in a metal band, and I was, and our bands were playing a show at the same time. I actually remember the show that I was supposed to play.
It was Queen City Underground.
That was the first show we actually played together. There was another show where it was at Tremont, and I think a band had dropped off the bill, and then the promoter called our drummer and was like,
Oh, yeah.
"Can you get here and play the show?" And I was like, we all got in the car, rushed, and tried to play. They're like, "It's too late, but you can watch the show."
Yeah.
So I
Got
watched.
into Tremont for free.
So I got into I got
Shout
into
out to
the
Penny.
yeah Penny, and I got to see his band. I was like, whoa! And they had a drum machine. They didn't have like a real,
Right.
and it was like their bass player's brother.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
instead
Jimmy.
of actually playing, like they didn't have a drummer, he would do like devil horns on stage and just
Yeah,
stare
he
at
would just
everybody.
hang out in the back and drink beer and throw horns while he hit
While I
So
hit
it
next
buttons.
song.
Yeah,
Okay.
Shout out to him. He's a SecOps guy for a major petroleum company now.
there you go. Nice.
so how did you get, Chris? How did you get involved with DJing? If you were in a band, were you a DJ in a band, or were you an instrumentalist? What were you doing?
Right. Music had always been my thing since I was a small child. It runs in my family. My great uncle went to the North Carolina School for the Blind with Doc Watson. They said they knew each other their entire lives until
Okay.
Uncle Ellis
Okay.
passed away, and then Doc, of course, passed away a few years ago. So music had always been around. And for me, I love anything I haven't heard before, seen before. And so, I'm going to check it out. I listen to everything at least once before I get judgy. And so the first time I heard Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, that caught my ear immediately. And I had already grown
Same
up
for
listening
me.
to funk.
When I was younger, when I heard that old Slick, my cousin had the cassette tape.
Sure.
And yeah, that's the kind of when I
that's-
started listening to rap music back
Oh, yeah.
then.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and I grew up in central North Carolina, man. It was a town that was half black and half white. 1 square mile, 1 stoplight. Everybody worked on the farm together. Everybody worked together everywhere in the mills. And so I grew up here in UTFO and Slave and all those, hardcore funk bands through the 70s. And obviously hip hop came out of that tradition. And so to me, it was all the same musical language, just evolving over time. And then I saw the video for Rocket, right? Herbie Hancock. And, the synthesizer and scratching. And I immediately scratched my mother's Barry Manilow record
Oh,
Oh,
on the stereo. Oh, yeah, Tropicana.
get whipped with a racing track for that. in my house.
You know that.
Oh gosh, not the Coca Cabana.
Oh, you know that, which I still love. I still love Barry Manilow. But yeah, I mean, it was just always part of the lexicon for me. Bluegrass and funk and soul and rock and early metal was just all part of the language. And all of it was always there from the beginning. And then we saw the guys DJing in rock and metal bands, right, when we were younger people.
Yeah.
And I thought about that, but then the band I ended up in was way heavier than that, of course.
Probably should have done this before, but we're talking to Brendan and Chris. Makes up B-Villainous with DJ 4 Times Lit.
Yay!
Yeah, and you can catch these guys here at the Rooster on Friday, October 27th for the 3NT Halloween show. We got Grizzly coming out from Kansas City. We got Jones McShine on that show and a few others.
Yep.
It's going to be a fun show. There's going to be a costume contest. It's going to be a big Halloween party. It's presented by Planet Vapor. Shout out to Planet Vapor.
Big up, Kevin.
Because that's how you guys are getting paid.
Nice. I had a Planet Vapor hat on earlier. I took it off.
You stink.
But so definitely come to that show. And these guys, I was doing. We're almost a year in, so I was compiling all the data for what we've done in the past year, like how many bands have played, how many artists have performed, and how much we've paid out. And then, so as I'm going through the calendar, I'm counting up, how many played multiple times. This will be your fourth time. Fourth
That's
time,
about right, yeah.
which makes you the second most, or you've performed here the second most times. So there's you and about 6 or 7 other performers will have been here 4 times in the first year. And Jack
Wow.
Defrost has the most. Jack Defrost has been here.
I was like,
Big up,
who-
Jack.
Shout out to the homie Jack
Shout out.
Defrost.
Yeah, man.
He's been here because he gets on metal shows too.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah,
he does
yeah.
a lot of metal shit.
He's a metalhead
Exactly.
also.
Yeah.
Well, and there's at this show there will be a surprise with Jack Frost.
Yeah, we're going to perform a track with him.
Nice.
We didn't get to do it last time because he had.
Think you can get him up on the stage?
Unless he leaves early again.
Oh, yeah. No, it's more like get him on.
But so obviously we're fans and we love what you do. If you're watching this and you don't know who B-Villainous is, I highly recommend going to his YouTube page and just watch. There's a ton of content there, a lot of great songs over the years. What inspired to bring in the video element the way that you do? Is all that your ideas, or are you working with anybody putting those together?
Him and I do a little bit, but sometimes I'll have like a specific thing, like he did the RoboCop video. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Like he made the beat for that. I wrote the rapped it, and then he edited the video for that. But then there's stuff like the animation is primarily me. But then he does other videos and graphic stuff for. I mean, if you were to see like footage of me live, I could be like, he did that one, I did that one.
Right. Philip did that. Moon
Well, I mean,
Man.
the
Yeah,
videos
yeah.
look like a lot of work, especially like the video game. I don't recall the exact name of the song, but you've got the one where it's got like the Mario and the Excite
yeah.
Bike and
Yeah.
Business.
Business,
like,
yeah.
just getting all of that content in one place had to have been like an entire day's work.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that was many different sessions. Basically, what's funny is how that started was, I was like, I need to write a song for people that are from that era that remember those games. And I was like, so I got to remember, I made a big long list of all the games. It's like, now I have to convert that into rap lyrics. And then I have to put that to a beat. And then I have to find the footage of all this stuff I just rapped about.
Yep.
And then edit it.
Oh yeah.
And then I used a green screen and put myself over top of all of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool. It's one of my
Thank you.
favorite ones you do. That one, how I got introduced to you was the White Guy video. That
Oh,
was,
yeah.
that was
Yeah.
my introduction, which is a really fun song. It's a really funny video. Who shot that?
That was he's the guy who did the I don't know if you saw my last video, it's like the what's it called?
360 camera.
Yeah, the 360 camera video. He did that one also.
Yeah. He is also the Moon Man.
Yeah, Moon Man. Have you seen him live?
So yeah, we've got to all come together. We need to bring a group of people up here for a show one weekend.
So Moon Man is a guy who does. We actually just gave away his real identity, but maybe we can.
Everybody knows, man. He was in one of the most
Beat the
popular
man.
bands in Charlotte in the last 10 years.
So anyway, he
Yeah,
wears
yeah,
he wears an
Bleak-
astronaut suit and he makes beats live with his with those push button things.
Really?
And then he has visuals too. He has like this. I don't even know what that thing's called. It's like a podium that. Like,
It's a light bar, Temu, AliExpress, whatever. You get a light bar, LEDs, and then jack it into a tablet or whatever, and it spins and does the old school cartoon effect on the spinning wheel.
yeah, it spins so fast.
So it's
okay, yeah.
animated.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
is. It's
self-contained.
crazy.
He has just a keyboard stand with a street sign, which is not real. It's legal, I'm sure, with all his stuff on top, and then that on the front. So he just walks up and plugs in and fires it up.
That's
and
awesome.
Go.
Yeah.
It's super cool. Super
That's
cool. And he's a really good director. He's also a professional sports videographer. He travels the world shooting rollerbladers.
And all of these different producers and videographers you've worked for, you've just met organically through the scene.
Yeah, see, that's one advantage that I had from crossing over from being in a band to being a rapper,
Right.
is like I played so many shows, and one of the last bands I was in, we really only got big we first started getting big through the house party circuit. Like we didn't play venues first, we played like to all the local, like there was like those groups of guys who like ride bikes and stuff. There's like RTA
MCs?
and Rad
Fixies, yeah.
and all those dudes. So we played a lot of their house parties and it got pretty crazy. Then we started playing venues. So we made connections with people like Philip or a lot of the people we collab with and do shows with now. It's like people we've known for years.
Yeah.
And some of those people, like when they found out I was doing rap, kind of just followed me.
What inspired the RoboCop video? Like were you just watching it one day and were like, I got to do this?
Sort of. It's, I mean,
Well, Predator was first.
I did one with Predator. I've had the idea to, it's like, can I wrap this entire plot to this movie in 1 minute? So that's how it started with Predator. And then we did it with RoboCop. And actually today, I don't know if I should.
No, don't tell them what the next
Well,
one.
you
tell
don't
them
have
what
to-
So we got another one coming, and it's
Okay.
in the same vein as
I'm glad to hear that because that was going to be my next question. Like, it seems like that could be like a TikTok thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you kept keep building on that with different movies and
Yeah.
stuff. Because like the RoboCop thing is great. It's so fun.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's fun. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's where it's like metal. Hip hop certainly is. You can be way too serious.
Yeah.
And hey, I'm an old school protest music guy. I appreciate people that write about real shit and mean it.
Right.
But there's a time and place for just having fun too.
Yeah.
And it's, we're in a place now where culturally we're in a lot of extremes. And so we purposely have tried to, keep it fun. It should
Levity,
be fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's what we're doing here is like let's enough with the nonsense. Let's come and have some fun. Like,
Right.
Have some real human experiences.
Right.
Yeah, and another thing is I knew that if I started off, like if you listen to all my stuff, I do have some serious stuff, but I wanted to start off saying ridiculous, exaggerated shit. Like if you're gonna be cocky, you should say some like unrealistic shit.
Right.
Beat
Instead
you
of
to
bragging
death with a
about-
windshield wiper.
Yeah. So it's like if I started off that way, and then I could slowly sprinkle in some serious stuff. But if I started off serious, it'd be harder to make a
Start going
transition.
back.
Yeah.
Like riding in spaceships and.
So you
weird
thought
stuff like-
this out.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
was strategy.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
it was a good decision. It was smart
Thank
because
you.
it does. It really is the fun aspect. Because you buy yourself a little bit of leeway with quote unquote fans. When you're having fun and you can kind of slip in something a little more serious and they're going to be more appreciative because they've kind of gotten to know your sensibilities. I think that's the thing. Like if you come out swinging like you're like you're a hardliner, you're only attracting that one audience.
Exactly,
And that's
yeah.
not a very big audience.
Yeah,
And that audience is also extremely fickle because the minute you say something outside of those
Yeah,
lines,
exactly,
you're
yeah.
done.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You're canceled. So it was a smart approach.
yeah,
Well, and just keeping it real. I mean, we both came from very poor places, right? And, very undereducated areas.
I don't think we've had anyone on the
economically
show
poor
that
areas.
didn't.
Exactly. I mean, because that's how you end up doing this,
Yeah.
right? But we were not gangbangers, and we did not grow up in a project. Hey, I had plenty of friends in the projects. I played ball in the projects
Yeah.
every day after school.
even living
But
there. Yeah,
I didn't live in the projects, and so I'm not going to pretend that I'm from the projects. That's crazy.
Yeah.
and it'd be hard to fake that for a very long time. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I am a guy that likes to watch RoboCop though. So that's
Yeah,
why I write
exactly.
songs.
I can go with that.
Like mayonnaise on your sandwiches.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Well,
yes.
that's what's
My
funny about the
wife
White Guy
hates
song.
that.
Yeah,
Dude, that must have been the most fun to shoot that video.
It was.
It looks like you're having the time of your life.
yeah, it was good. It was only 2 days. I think the second night, the night, if you watch the video, you'll see a scene in there of me on stage.
Yep.
I'm doing karaoke. So we had to wait. I had to sign up for karaoke at Snug Harbor
Yep.
in that costume.
Yes.
And people were like, "What are you doing, man?"
Because it's like everybody at Snug knows us where we hang out at.
They're like, "Hey, good to see you, but why are you dressed like that?" And then I'm sitting there waiting, and then it's finally my turn. But the song I ended up singing was Tony Braxton's
Always.
"Unbreak My Heart."
Breathe.
So that's
Really?
why I'm gesturing with my hand. If you go back and watch it,
Oh, that is his go-to karaoke song.
Really?
Oh, yes. Yeah, see, and we'll invite you guys. It's tough because we're friends with a lot of bar owners and hospitality workers, but you can never come over on Saturday night because you're working.
Yeah, true.
That is
True.
one of the pitfalls of doing this.
Yes.
Is not being available to go like support when you want.
Oh yeah. So I even thought about we thought about trying to start doing like some Sunday afternoon cookouts for that reason because that's what we do. Is Christy comes over, shout out Christy, and brings friends, etc. And we do karaoke till 3 a.m. in the studio.
Yeah,
Sounds like a
our
blast.
spot, our rehearsal spot's pretty sick. It's his basement. He's got all the same shit you would see live on stage, lights, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, it's pretty fun.
How many people can you pack in that basement?
We've gotten way more than you should in there. It's good for 8 to 12 people, but we've certainly had 24 people in there.
I'll be waiting for that invite.
Hey, and I'll tell you, I live Hidden Valley. What's up? My neighbors don't care, and so you can leave the back door open to the patio, and we'll have food going on the patio, fire or whatever. My neighbors party till 3 a.m, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
And no matter what the occasion, I think there's usually somebody's lighting fireworks no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
Always fireworks. It's a good time.
Yeah, I grew up not far from Hidden Valley.
No,
so.
right on. You know that.
Yeah,
It's a
I
good
do.
time. Most of the time.
Most of the time.
So, started off as a metalhead. I want to talk a little bit about the metal.
Okay.
You know what? You said you started around 15 with music and art and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What was the catalyst? Like, what kind of got you into? Well, what attracted you to music, and then why? And then what got you into metal? Like, was there a specific band, a song, a family member, a friend? Like, how did it start for you?
For me, it's let's see. I'd say when I was about 11ish, and MTV was actually good. They would do like buzz clips, and this is so weird and random, but White Zombie, seeing them, that was part of it. But another one is I lived in a trailer park when I was like 10, 11, and there was this one redheaded kid that lived there, but he was younger than I was. But his dad was pretty cool. He's like the shirtless dude with a mullet, and he would let me borrow his Metallica albums. I know that's
That's awesome.
No, I just
So
the
I would go
details of the
hang out
story.
with his dad.
I have a story for that too. Yeah, exactly.
I'd
Do
go hang
you
out with his
remember Metal
dad
Man?
to borrow Metallica albums, and then they would drink, and then we would listen to Metallica and shit like that. So I was really
Yeah.
into that. And I say around middle school is when I started noticing like people my age were either going all the same direction, and then there would be like the funner kids who'd wear band shirts, and I was like, kind of want to be with those dudes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I same here. I don't know where you went to school. I went to middle school at Southwest, and I went to high school at Huss. And when I went to those schools in the 90s, you were either white with like money or black. And then there were like a handful of us that wore flannel t-shirts. Yeah, like that. Those were the three groups of people, and we were the smallest group. And
Sure.
and
Yes.
that's literally what attracted me to the group of friends that I had at school, was because they dressed like me.
Sure.
And
Sure.
then you start learning about all the, like I was like, even in middle school, like I said, my cousin had the Slick Rick cassette tapes, and from that I got introduced to like KRS-One and Redman, and then eventually Wu-Tang, and that's kind of like I've had an appetite for hip hop since the late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah.
But more than that, I was more into like the hard rock, heavy rock and roll, metal. I'll never forget. I think I was like 8 years old when one of the girls that lived in our neighborhood busted out a Guns N' Roses cassette tape, and I was like, "Yes!"
Was it
8-year-old.
Appetite for Destruction?
Yes, yes.
And then I knew I was the oldest person in the room.
But I mean, that all came to head when I'm like, I believe I was 12 or 13 years old when Rage Against the Machine put their first album out. Again, cassette tape that we bought.
Yep.
And I'll never forget jumping. We were at my best friend's house. They had a couch and a love seat, and we were each on one, just jumping up and down, screaming, "Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me." Like, this is amazing. Middle school, anarchy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
My oldest son, when they were 3 and 4. I introduced him to Rage, and that was his reaction at 4 years
Oh,
old.
that's funny.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So so you get moved. Like I think my daughter's that age now. She's middle school age, and it's like your first like taste of what it's like to feel feelings so deep.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
And you really feel music
yeah.
at that
Yeah.
age.
Oh,
You
yeah.
like,
really
like life
feel it.
hasn't whipped
No,
your
that's
ass
right.
yet. Like you're
Yeah.
just getting started,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
You're starting to develop your own taste,
Yep.
and things are so like the emotions are just
Oh yeah, big feels.
jacked up. So you start to hear these songs that just and that's why music keeps evolving and changing. Because we get older, we get jaded, we like what we like, we have these things that we relate to that move us. And then the older you get, it's kind of harder to relate to the next generation because they're going through different shit.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
they say like there's a neurologist that studied when you're 15. That's whenever you're impressionable, and whatever you listen to at that age is like you're gonna like it forever.
Right, and that's true.
I totally get that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes a lot of
Yeah, it
sense. I
does.
mean, it's that coming of age time of your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And for me, it took me much longer than most people my age to kind of like me, like get comfortable in my skin, like who I was.
Sure.
A lot of that came from ridicule, getting fucked with in school, kind of getting picked on. My daughter, she got in trouble recently at school, and my wife and I were talking about like, what she got in trouble for. Yes, you deserve to be in trouble, but the reason why she got in trouble was very relatable to me. And I told my wife, I was like, I was the exact same age when I started punching people in the face. Like that's when I started swinging on people.
Yeah.
Like I got tired of getting fucked with, and then that's when I started fighting kids. And it goes back to that that emotional, like it's hard to you don't have the skill set to
Cope.
cope
Right.
and deal with stuff. You got to learn that stuff. And it wasn't until I was in my late 20s till I actually was comfortable in my skin and appreciated me. And so there's a lot of anxiety that goes along with that.
Sure.
But from that anxiety and the powerlessness, all of the negative feelings, you're using that music to kind of cope with it. You're hearing lyrics and that are relatable to your life, and it's like you said, that's what sticks with you. Those are the things that get you. They give you the tools that you don't have.
Yeah, exactly.
Because a lot of us don't have parents a lot of parents don't know how to explain this shit to kids.
Yeah.
Like
And
we
they don't.
have.
They don't teach it in school either.
Yeah,
No.
there's not a class for there might be now. I don't know the way they've promoted mental health and
To help
good.
teach emotional
Maturity.
maturity. That's
yeah.
the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, because we've tried our best to try to explain these things to our because when I was a kid it was because I said so,
yeah.
or
Yeah, it
or
doesn't make
pray
any
about
sense
it.
either.
There's a lot of that going around. Pray about it, talk to Jesus, that kind of thing. Like okay,
Yep.
guy who's not answering me.
Oh yeah.
There wasn't you just weren't being taught these things, and we try our best to teach our daughter like, well, this is why you feel this way. I try to help them deal with that. But for me, it was definitely music.
Yeah.
Oh
Was the
yeah.
thing that got me through. And now to see, I love this part of what we do, like getting to be around people that are doing that for others now, because what you're doing is highly entertaining.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you're giving people an opportunity to kind of let loose and relate to others. It's really really cool.
Yeah, I think that, like he was saying, you can't pretend like you're hard when you're not, because then you're pretty much lying. But in a weird way, you can find a strength. Like I rap about dorky stuff a lot of the times, and it's like you're being honest, and
Yeah.
there's like
Yeah.
more of a confidence in that than faking being somebody else.
It's why people love your
Yeah.
live performances. It's why people love your music. Is because it is authentic. Now I agree. Like when I first started listening to rap, it was still kind of fun.
Right.
Like you Chuck D, Public Enemy.
Right.
They were like one of the first rap groups that I knew of that were making any kind of
They
political
were
statement.
socially conscious.
Yeah. They were.
But they also made it fun at the same time.
Right.
exactly.
But it was
Yeah,
still
boy.
irritating.
Yeah.
Like.
With the clock and stuff.
Yeah, it was fun. It was like, wow, this is insane, but this is cool.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there is a place for social commentary in politics and music, and there's certain bands that do it and do it well.
Yeah.
There's some bands that just should stay away from it. Like you'll see bands get famous and then they want to have some sort of
Oh yeah.
social. It's like just
Or
shut up.
celebrities in general.
Hey.
Yeah, dance monkey. Like,
Exactly.
Hey, man, the thing about it is Tom Morello really is a political scientist.
Yeah.
Everyone else, you get what you get.
yeah. Yeah, I don't want to get too heavy or nothing like that. But I do want to ask. You said you have some heavier stuff. Like what kind of stuff are you addressing in the heavier stuff? Is there anything that someone might be able to benefit from your experience?
Well, I have one song on that mixtape. It's called "Broke." You're talking about heavy as in like subject matter.
Yes. Yeah.
The first two. It's funny, like the first two verses of that were written when I was like really assed out, rock bottom type shit. And one of the phases of my life when I got really, really good at rap was when the only thing I could do was rap. I was staying with, there was a year where I got fired and then immediately my car broke down permanently. And then I got pretty much evicted because I couldn't use my car to go to work. And then my girlfriend broke up with me.
I've had stints like
all in
that.
all-
Yeah.
So I think I wrote the first two verses of that song when shit was bad, but then I think I wrote the last verse when that, and it was like years apart. Because some of the ideas I have, like I'll have like 10 ideas and then I'll kind of nurture one for a few weeks, months, and then sometimes I'll come up with something right then and use it as soon as possible. But that one was one of those, this will be my serious song. So
it's just talking about
being
that time in your
broke
life.
and
And then
paycheck to
that
paycheck.
last verse is kind of coming out of it.
No,
it's
it stays
still-
pretty
It's like a
good.
Stephen King ending.
Everybody dies.
Everyone dies in the mist.
Cool. And that one's called Broke.
Yeah.
And where would someone want to, if someone wanted to go listen to that mixtape, where would they find it?
I would say the best way to keep up with any of my stuff is to go to my website and then get on my list.
Sign up for those. I get the text messages.
Yeah,
I got
because
one
as soon as
last
I
week.
drop something, it goes
Yeah.
straight to you. So B-Villainous.com, and then there's Bandcamp, and then Spotify and all that stuff. So I'm pretty much streaming everywhere. But
Yeah.
I would say if you can get on the list, so you go to B-Villainous.com, you scroll down, it'll say, actually I'm going to look it up right now,
And you can also text the word live.
to 704-703-5662.
I'm
But
gonna pop that up.
Like I have heard nothing from my husband but about you for the last 2 weeks. So,
click here
No,
to join the
there's a
squad.
buzz. I mean, there's definitely a buzz. People are excited about this.
We're looking forward to the show. Doing shows with Troy and Barbie's team are fun anyway. Doing shows here are always fun.
The
'cause we get to do
the last
fun
one
stuff.
when the first time I met you, that was a blast.
That
That
was
was
a
so
great
much
show.
fun.
Yeah,
That-
that's
this is the sequel to that show, I think.
Yeah,
right?
it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
That
show
show went so well. That's why they did
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
one.
it was so fun. Everyone had such a great time that immediately after the show, everyone was like, "Let's do this again
Yeah.
and make it bigger."
It was fun.
And that's what we're doing.
So see, now we've got to come up with something bigger.
You're right.
Well, that's something that I really
Pyro.
respect about with you and Jack Defrost as well. Both of you guys have this ability to kind of weave through different like groups, right? Like different cliques or
Sure.
whatever you want to call it. There's different promoters, different scenes. You guys are malleable in that way that you can. I mean, we could put you on a metal show. We can put you on a rap show. We can put you. There's 3 or 4 different
We
promoters.
could throw you in a punk rock show.
Yeah.
You'd work.
Oh yeah, we play a punk band, sure.
Yeah, for sure.
and
Yeah,
then
we
it's
toured
and,
with
and
both
there's
bands.
a first,
He's let a bunch of punks stay at his house before
Oh, dude.
and eat all his food.
R.I.P. DSR.
Hey,
Eat all
well,
my food repeatedly.
that's the punk rockers. We're some of the brokest people.
Always.
That's the natty light crowds.
But that's the real ones. Real punks are the
Yeah.
brokest ones.
Yeah.
Smarter punks tend to have finances they choose not to use.
It's funny. It's like we're at a time now in history where like all the hippies are old and most of them are rich. It's like they're so the opposite of what they were.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so funny to see that.
Or if they're not, they're still the opposite in how they were in some way.
Oh, they're hypocrites.
Oh gosh. Yeah, it's like what happened to you?
Is it selling out or is it buying in? That's a buddy of mine, one of the best guitarists in the state, up in Raleigh, Thomas Clark. Also, one of Jamie King's engineers. So he's worked on a bunch of between buried me, glass casket, blah blah stuff. But he said that years ago, man, talking about metal. He said, "Hey, man, is it selling out or is it buying in?" He said, "The reality is you can be as serious or not serious about any of these things as you want to be. Or you just fitting into a clique?"
Yeah.
Or
Well,
is
it's,
that who
you
are?
got to decide what you want to be. Like I've said this to a lot of younger musicians. You have to decide: do you want to be famous or do you want to be a musician?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they're two very
They're
different
two
things.
different things.
Yes.
They're also two very different skill sets.
Yes.
Being famous is a skill.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to be famous,
Right.
right? I don't want that life. I would love to be wealthy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like,
And see, the
that
two
would be
don't
great.
have anything to do with each
And they
other.
don't have
right.
anything to do with each
Right.
other.
You can be
Yeah.
the worst. I think would be to be famous and not wealthy,
And
because
broke,
then
yeah.
like how Gary
yeah.
Coleman was when he did like security,
Yeah.
like you get recognized in public and bothered.
Oh no!
But then
the
you're
brother, right? The one that got went to jail
Oh,
for
what's
shooting
his
somebody.
face?
Yeah, one of the guys I grew up with worked a security guard job with him the month before he shot that person.
Really?
Dang!
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Damn, that's wild.
Oh,
don't think I knew
crazy,
that.
man.
That 6 degrees of separation going
Right?
on. This
Yeah,
guy knows
North
everybody.
Carolina to California, man, it's a weird path, just like North Carolina and Florida.
But the point I'm making was like you can have a career. You can have a career in music and no one ever know who you are.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
But
That's-
that really shows that you're in it for the music and not for that.
And if it were me, that's what I would want.
Yeah.
I would want that.
I kind of think that's what I'm mainly going for. It's like I just want to gather all the people that care about what I do and then just make stuff for them.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I look at every show like I want every show to do well, obviously. No matter how many people show up, at some point during the night, every night, I'm back there working, and I look out and I'm like, this is a party. Like every show is a party. We're just throwing parties. We just happen to have some really good entertainment.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And that's kind of the vibe I want it to be here. Like, and I mean, yes, it's a little bit of escapism.
Sure.
But don't we all need that?
Yeah, people
Oh, yeah.
need that, right?
Yeah.
People desperately need it now.
That.
Yeah, that part. Some just good.
I mean, you think about it, escapism is necessary because we're already thrown into some unnatural shit. Like being in traffic is like, we're not wired for that.
Exactly. There's nothing preparing you from an evolutionary standpoint to sit in traffic.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can talk about that. We can talk about how technology keeps accelerating so fast that the evolution of our DNA cannot keep up with
Oh, yeah.
what's happening.
Already
You know,
it's past us.
we're
for sure.
still for the majority of the planet. All right, I'm not speaking specifically about Americans,
Sure.
but the rest of the world, there are still people out there that are programmed genetically to survive in like just dire straits. Like,
Yeah,
there are people that are still running from lions.
Sure.
Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
happening on a daily basis. People are protecting themselves from being eaten
Yep.
by a jungle animal.
Oh,
Or
hippos.
the one tribe that they've had limited human contact, and those who have come in contact with them, they're dead.
They get
Don't
them
come
sick.
back.
They get them
Yeah,
sick.
yeah,
and-
there's
no,
those-
no, they're dead. They
Yeah,
killed
they don't
them.
come
Yeah.
back. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
There's that one tribe, I can't remember what they're called. They have scientists that collect their poop, and then there's rich like white women in America are taking their poop and putting it in their bodies to like
That makes me so happy.
because
I'm so glad that rich white women are eating shit. That
not eating it, but they're putting it in their bodies so it changes their gut health to be
Oh, yeah,
strong.
improves their gut health. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. So don't
Oh,
just
yeah.
sound
I
like
thought
a
he was
crazy
going to go with
person.
their putting
I'm not.
that on their
I'm not making this
faces.
shit
He's
up.
not
That's what I thought
talking
he was
about
going
the coffee that cats shit out.
Oh, that one. I heard about that one.
About that one.
But the point I'm making is like you said, we're just not wired to really deal with the world we're living in right now. Like things are happening so fast, coming at us so fast,
Yep.
and we're still like this is proof positive that we're not ready because that tribal mindset has played itself out in real time on social media.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Who can forget, 2016 on, like 2016 to COVID, you watched people just right into their little think tank or their little group think,
Yeah,
groups.
echo chambers.
Yeah, and that shows you that we're not ready as a species for
So-
what's happening right now.
This right here reminds me of a conversation. My best friend and she has a theory. Okay, so you know how everybody sees these UFO sightings, and she's like, "No, we are the rejects from that alien race. They come in and check on us to see how we're doing."
Still suck.
She's like, we're the rejects. We did not evolve, and they just brought us all here.
Look, it's a plausible theory.
It's like the island of
plausible-
misfit toys.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it
Or
is a
Australia.
Or
I mean,
Australia.
I happen to, I do believe that something alien happened to build the pyramids. Either it was alien, or we've been here before, we got wiped out and started over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some people
Yeah.
say that we
Yeah.
had advanced technology, and then that got like.
lost.
You know,
Yeah.
there's, I mean,
There's
I
a
don't
bunch
wanna-
of different theories.
I don't want to dig too deep
possible.
into it, but there's the Younger Dryas theory, you know, that you know, we actually had an advanced civilization over 12,000 years ago.
Right.
And, you know, that a lot of the ancient, you know, sites like the pyramids and some others, there's the evidence just, there's no way possible that conventional wisdom is correct about how these things exist. You know?
I agree with that. I agree with that in the South Asian subcontinent, India. I think cultural bias against people from that part of the world and their culture causes us to ignore the fact that when you look at their cultural history, it's clear that they have records going back 20,000 plus years.
Yeah. I mean, Göbekli Tepe is another example of how, like, this was clearly built with technology that could not have possibly existed just 2,000 years ago.
No, you've got. I mean, like Mayans, Aztecs, It's like, really.
But so who's right? Is your friend right? Are we aliens?
I don't
or
know.
did aliens do it, or did we, or have we been here before?
I don't know. I
It's
love
a great
listening to
question.
theories, though.
Yeah, it is fun to listen to theories. It is.
It is.
You know,
Like,
not
oh,
so
I
much
never
like
thought
the
about
ancient
that.
alien type shows, but like
Yeah.
like real in-depth conversations about it. You know, it's fun to listen to.
Because she was like,
What am I missing?
Oh, the crazy guy, Giorgio on Ancient
Oh,
Aliens.
with the hair?
guy with
Yeah.
hair. Okay, someone we know
Nice.
very well that doesn't live in Charlotte anymore, that is a My Little Pony person.
Oh, like what do they call
is he a
them?
brony?
She.
Oh, she. Okay.
She is
All
a My
right.
Little Pony person, but that was her highlight before the pandemic. She went to some convention. She's in pony garb, but taking selfies with Giorgio from Ancient Aliens.
Yeah, I thought she had
And
like a
that was-
hotel party.
That,
with him or
yes, that was the ornament like meta
Weird, right?
mashup.
Wait.
Brain
But what
exploded.
pony was she dressed
something.
as?
What?
The white and pink one. Which one is that?
Oh, we're going old school My Little
Oh
Pony.
yeah, yeah.
Not
Well,
the
she's
newer
our age.
My Little Pony.
Yeah, she's our age. Yeah. I'm talking about somebody who's our age. All right.
Sorry, I really like the new My Little Ponies.
I mean, I'm willing to listen to like the flat earthers. Like
Oh yeah, I'll listen to
I
everybody.
love to listen
sure.
to it. Yeah, like people are like real quick to do. Oh, what are you stupid? No, just fucking
just
listen.
listen.
Like be entertained.
Just listen.
Really, just by
listen.
listening, you're flexing your critical thinking
Right.
abilities.
That
Just
part.
just hearing someone out.
Avoiding things you don't like or agree with or want to hear. You can certainly have too much, but just avoiding it is, of course, part of our problem, right? We are
Yeah.
unwilling to feel any discomfort.
It's that, and also like the human brain wants to conserve as much energy as possible.
Always.
So it doesn't want to exert any more. Like when you ride a bike, you don't think about balancing and pedaling and steering. You eventually that all collapses into one thing. So when people were hitting you with stuff constantly, you're like, I'm only going to take some of this in. I can't take it all in.
Yeah,
You have to consciously decide to.
I'm really bad at like repeating some of these. Like I'll listen to or watch something super interesting, and I'm really bad at recounting it. But I do like absorbing that information because it does. You know, depth of knowledge is important to me, right? I want to know more, as much about things as I possibly can. I might not be the best, example of like how to explain it to somebody, but having that knowledge, to me, is valuable. And especially if it's something I don't know shit about,
Yeah,
or I don't have enough information on,
Right.
I want to know. Now, sometimes you get bored with stuff and you move on, but all of these theories that people like the flat earthers and all this stuff that people have been throwing around lately, even some of the conspiracy theorists people, it's just fun to listen to, like,
Oh, yeah.
because you also get a sense of who they are as a person,
Yeah.
right? Like a lot of times this is someone's identity.
Yeah.
Like this is, and
And
so
people
you
go deep with that
yeah,
shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like this person has clearly devoted so much time and resources to this one thing that this is super important
Yes.
to them. And
Which is why they can never really talk to you about it. They can't have a back and forth
No.
because they've decided.
They are one track mind.
Now you call their identity into question.
Exactly.
Really, that's why people. That's how and why people vote and buy products. Like if you're a person, if you were a kid and you had lived in a very chaotic, your upbringing was very chaotic, you're probably going to vote for somebody that brings law and order. Makes your
Right.
fear of lack of control go away.
Yep. Sound familiar?
I mean, we all technically have them. There's no escaping.
Now we all have biases, and we all have tendencies, and look, you can argue this two ways. You could argue that this is the problem, or you can argue that this is what's great about being a human being. I want to make sure that by the time my life's over, I want to know that I was kind to people. I want to know that I took the time to get, to understand people. I'm not a very religious person, right? And I have a tendency to kind of balk, at a lot of the religious stuff that
No
gets
shit.
done. Yeah.
With the hat you're wearing today?
Yeah. But I also at the same time I do believe that there is a God. I'm not sure that any of the religions have it right what that God is. Right? I do believe that spirituality is important, and I do believe that being a religious person helps the majority of those people. It's
Yeah.
It's
I
right.
get what you're
The
saying.
majority of the people that are into that, it's making their life better and it's making them better people. But
Yeah.
there's that small percentage
That outshines the rest of them.
and the same thing can be applied to conspiracy theorists,
Yes.
to all these
Oh, yeah.
different, whatever the thing is that you're into, people can get religious about it.
Sure.
And for me, I just want to understand people. I want to be empathetic. I want to try to understand where someone's coming from. And when you get into these conversations with people, it's frustrating when you get into one and they can't explain themselves.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's a person that's just repeating something they heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you have no depth of knowledge. You have no idea what you're talking about, and it's hard to take that person seriously
Right.
anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't even try.
Yeah.
I've spent my entire adult life in tech, and so you can imagine how many stupid user stories I have, right?
Oh yeah.
Infinity,
I'm
bro.
with you on that
It's
one.
oh yeah, it's at this point 35 years worth, and so I'm with you. What happens is when people have an external mechanism, it absolves them of responsibility. They're not responsible for thinking.
Yeah.
So if you allow employees to burn IT folks' time with no filtering or control, they'll never figure anything out for themselves. Their mouse stops working. They won't check the batteries. They'll immediately pick up the phone and call you.
My favorite thing is, this is my brain. This is my whole life.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
like, I've looked at somebody going, you need to get a life.
That's
Yes.
sad. Yeah, that's a sad statement to make.
And if you don't have your whole life backed up and it's all digital, that's not my
But
problem.
I mean, part of that goes back. Part of that goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the conversation about having the tools necessary to survive. To navigate life. And unfortunately, it's not always their fault.
Sure.
Some people just grow up in an environment that's cold and distant. Some people grow up in an environment where their parents can't get their shit together.
Right.
They spend their entire formidable years learning how to be chaotic.
Yeah.
How do you break that cycle?
Yeah. Some people resort to violence first. That's like all
Yeah.
they know.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the default, right?
Speaking of violence, let's talk about these sick rhymes you're going to be kicking on October 27th
Yo.
here at the Rooster. Let's bring it home and talk about the show, man. We're all excited about it. We've already told you, B-Villainous.com. It's just going to be a killer show. It's a Halloween party. Come dressed up. There's going to be a costume contest. Anything else you want to say?
Are you forgetting anything? So we've got to come. We've got to come up with something sick to do here for the Halloween party. So if you don't come, you'll miss it.
Yes. Also, get on the list. That's like
Yes.
the one thing I could say. Like, if you want to keep up with all my stuff, get on my list. So go to bvillainous.com or go to my Instagram and link in bio, and then you scroll down and it says, click here to join the squad and get on the list. So do that and you'll get all
Yeah,
my
and
stuff.
he's not annoying about it either. Like you'll get one every few weeks or so.
Yeah,
I get the text.
I don't spam.
Yeah, he
It's
doesn't
content.
spam you. It's always good content. Everything I've watched and listened to, I've enjoyed. I love the live performances, and you can catch Be Villainous live here at the Rooster Friday, October 27th,
Yeah,
3MT Halloween party. Fellas, thank you so much for coming
Thank
in.
you so
today.
much
I
for having us.
appreciate it.
Enjoyed it as
All right.
always.
Peace and love.
Peace.